Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is fabu, fabu. As you can see, I am in the car, and I don't know why I always say that because it ain't like y'all blind. You can see. But I'm leaving work. Um, I guess it's probably due to the time change. When I leave in the morning, it's just been a little dark. Not really sure what's going on with that, but anywho, we rolling, rolling, rolling. And y'all know what? When I be watching these videos back and editing, I be cracking myself up. I'm like, you was cutting up this day. So, yeah, I don't know if I have any content creators that watch my videos. Do y'all be doing that when you watch yourself back on the when you're editing the video? You be laughing at yourself, stuff that you say, stuff that you do, whatever. It's a trip to me. But yeah, so I'm riding on home. Not really sure what we're gonna talk about today. I do know that I was having a really hard time uh, trying to think of topics for the She Thoughts, and I don't know. It was weird because I started kind of drifting off the other day. I started drifting off to sleep, and I like things just started kind of coming to me as I was about to go to sleep, and I was like, "Oh, here we go with this foolishness." But I was able to go to sleep, and the funny thing is, I was able to remember two of the three topics, I guess, for the She Talks that I wanted to do, and I actually got them done. I couldn't remember what the heck the third topic was, and I was driving into work this morning, and it came across my head, the third topic. I was like, oh, thank God, because I can't stand, it drives me up a wall when I can't remember what things that I wanted to do, and specifics or whatever. Oh, sorry, y'all. Sorry. I tell you, I did have a scary moment at work. I needed to, and I'm gonna talk about that in just a minute, but I needed to figure out how far something was from my house, and it was so scary, y'all. I was sitting there. Let me just tell. I'm just gonna put it out there. I had to look up my home address. I could not. I don't care what I did trying to remember my home address. I couldn't remember my home address. I kept, every time I went to say it, like to myself, I was actually saying, getting ready to say my work address. And then I was sitting there going, why is my brain like in this fog? But I could not remember my home address. And it in that moment, it was so scary because I wondered if that's what having Alzheimer's feels like. And it was so friggin' scary. It was just really scary. I don't care what I did. I was trying to force myself to try to remember, like see the numbers on the house and see the address on the envelopes, for mail that we picked up and things like that, and nothing I did was working. And it's like when I was able to pull up, I didn't even look at my driver's license. I didn't even think to do that, but I was able to pull up it was like our employee system that has all your information in it, your time off and all that sort of thing. And I pulled up my address that way. And when I looked at it, I was like, why was I having such a hard time remembering this address? But I don't care what I did. I could not make my brain know what those numbers were. I couldn't even, then the weird thing is, I was like, if I could just remember the street, maybe the numbers will automatically come to me. And no, I couldn't even remember what street I lived on. And I was so grateful in that moment that I wasn't, in a situation where I might have had to tell somebody where I live, because I'd have been jacked up. I'd have been jacked up trying to explain to somebody how to where home was. So that's just odd. But anyway, so today was a very emotional day for me, towards the end of the day, because my PCP that I have been seeing for years, he saw me, he saw my husband, he's seen my kids. He's a family practice doctor, but I know it's been over a year. He retired, and so since then, right after he retired, the facility where I was going, my family and I were going to be seen, for whatever the issue was. They have like an after hours clinic and all that kind of stuff, but they are a training. It's a facility where they do they have a residency program for family practice doctors. So you have doctors rotating in and out of there for the family medicine residency program. And my doctor was over that residency program. So he was like the pick of the litter. And so since then, like since he's retired, what I did is I just didn't go anywhere. I know that those are people that, he was responsible for, and I trusted them. And so I just allowed myself to continue to be seen. And they did find me, place me with someone. It was an Indian lady. She was really sweet. The only thing I didn't like is she was trying to put me on a third blood pressure medicine, and I wasn't having that. Anyway, so I decided not to leave the facility, because I was still going to be seen by, a doctor there. And then the beauty of going to a facility like that is if for some reason your doctor is unavailable or your doctor's on vacation or whatever the situation may be, they have a backup provider, and you don't have to worry about requesting medical records and all this other kind of stuff, because all your stuff is already in the system, and they can just kind of go back and see your history and things like that. The major problem is that because of where I live now, it is no longer convenient for me to go to that facility. It is extremely out of the way. And even if, like, say, for example, I believe they have appointments on Saturdays. I can't remember. It's been so long. But it is literally not in the path of anything that I do anymore. And before, it wasn't so much that it was convenient because it was in the path of what I was doing, or because it was mainly because it really wasn't that far from my house, and we had been going there for so many years that the drive was just necessary. It wasn't that far from where we were living, but now everything is far. But this is not just the distance, it's the fact of where it's placed in reference to where we live. It's not logical for us to continue going to that place as far as the location. Now, as far as the physicians, they are worth continuing going there, but I wanted to find something closer to where we live that was more convenient, especially considering, like, there may be times where I have to, I have an appointment like immediately after work. And if that's the case, the last thing that I want to be doing is driving somewhere that's really far and then it's just out of the way, because there's absolutely no way that I will be able to make any appointments on time that they could set for me. It just wouldn't be. I would have to take time off from work, and I'm just not a fan of doing that. I try to schedule my personal my personal business. I try to schedule that kind of stuff in a way that it doesn't impact my responsibilities for work. If I have to take a day off, I have to take a day off, but I try to make sure that I can. That's like a last resort for me. The only way that I won't make it a last resort is if, for say, one time I did my physical exam, my doctor's appointment, I did my eye exam, and I also did my dental exam all in the same day. And so to me, I wanted to knock everything out, and it just made sense for me just to take a day off and schedule all the appointments for that day and just get everything out of the way. That way I wouldn't have to be back and forth. So anyway, that's the reason I was I started looking for another doctor because, uh, my doctor retired, and seeing this new doctor, she's really good. She's really sweet. I love her bedside manner, but again, the facility was just no longer convenient. So what I did was, I did a little research, checked on the website for the insurance company, and it was just, ooh, it was extremely important for me to find a black woman doctor because I wanted someone who could take care of me, who could understand the things that the challenges that I might be facing as a woman, as a black woman. And I wanted, someone who had been, practicing for a little while that I could identify with. So I found this doctor. She's family practice doctor. The office is not located where I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be a little bit closer to where I live, but it is basically in the general area. It's not that far. The first time I went there, I used did I use Waze? I think I used Waze, and it took me all through some weird neighborhood. And child, I was like, where does these navigation system get the directions? Because it literally could have took me straight up the freeway, made a right on the street the facility is actually on, and I could have just rolled down the street. But it took me all through like back streets in a neighborhood and stuff. It's just weird. I think I might have did a video on that. Anyway, so I saw the doctor, for my initial checkup and all that kind of stuff. Now keep in mind, I'm a bariatric patient, which means that I have vitamin deficiency. So I'm on multivitamins as well as vitamin D. I also have neurological issues. I have soft tissue, nerve, and joint problems. So I take pain medicine every day to make sure that it has to stay in my system so I can stay mobile, because if I go too long without it, then I'm having issues moving around. Other than that, I'm taking estrogen, hormone replacement therapy, very low dosage, and what else? And my blood pressure medicine. And that's it. So I went to see her, had my visit. I was so excited. I took her little gift bag and everything, and I was just so excited. But she was just like, hey, I'm your doctor. What's going on? Okay, check, boom, boom, boom. And, I gave her the bag, and she was like, oh, thank you, but she seemed very disconnected. That should have been her first red flag. So then the second time I went to see her was because she wanted me to come back, because they did do my blood work, and my iron came back a little bit low or whatever. She wanted me to continue taking my iron, but she didn't tell me when I went for the visit she wanted to see me again in 3 months. So then I get this phone call. Well, first of all, I got a text message where the text message was really weird. It was saying something about an appointment to see my doctor, and it was at 0000 time on something. The date and the year was just weird. And I was like, what is this? So I really just kind of ignored it. But then I got an email of the same thing. And I was like, why are they sending me text messages? And it was clearly coming from the doctor's office. Text messages and an email that had weird typing in it. So you obviously think stuff like that is probably like spam, phishing, or something, right? So again, I ignored the email. But then I get a phone call from the doctor's office, and she was like, oh, the doctor wants to see you for your follow-up in 3 months. And I said, when did she decide this? Because when I came in to see her and they contacted me about my blood work, they told me that everything looked fine. My iron was a little low, but the doctor said just keep taking my iron, and that was good. They never said anything at that time about me coming in for 3 months. So when did she decide that I needed to be seen? Because so now I'm thinking, what else is going on that she didn't disclose this when she had them call me with my lab results. So she said, oh, she had put it in your chart when she saw you last. And I was like, well, that's still odd. Why didn't they say anything? Boom. I said, whatever. She wants to see me, that's fine. So she wanted to repeat the blood work for my iron to make sure everything was copacetic. So as a bariatric patient, every year I have to get a series of blood work done, and it usually requires them drawing like maybe anywhere from 10 to 12 tubes of blood for different stuff, because they're checking my vitamin. They're not just doing like a regular physical. They're checking vitamin levels and different things like that, and they're looking for certain things to make sure that my digestive system is functioning properly, and because I deal with malabsorption and just all kinds of stuff. So I know that that's always a big to-do every year when I go, see my PCP for my regular checkup. I got to get all this blood work done. So anyway, I went in to see her. They did the blood work. She didn't, again, she was a pleasant person, but she seemed to be very disconnected from the visit, because, I said something and I smiled, and she just kind of nodded, and she made a note in the chart and whatever. She just didn't seem like she was present in this doctor's visit either time. I'm not used to that. I'm used to my doctors, like I said before, my doctor that just retired. He was very, very invested in my care. Those are the doctors that I like, because if I had 1,000,001 questions, he didn't have a problem explaining, answering the questions. And then if he needed to explain like medical terminology, stuff like that, he didn't have a problem doing any of that. Even down to the point as before I had my surgery, I was diabetic, because I was pre-diabetic, but then I became full-blown diabetic, and he was very concerned about that. So we were trying to figure out how to tackle that issue. And so he said, do I think that talking to somebody about nutrition would help me? Because I told him, I said I cook and all that kind of stuff, but I was trying to deal with plant-based diet and different things. And so he was asking me, did I feel like speaking to somebody that's a nutritionist who actually has knowledge of being like the veganism and vegetarianism and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah. So he scheduled an appointment in the facility. They have nutritionists, dietitians and stuff available, and the one that I saw specifically deals with patients who are plant-based. I thought that was friggin' awesome. I've never seen a situation like that in my life. This is the facility that it's out of the way now. So man, I had the best time talking to this nutritionist, and she gave me so many helpful ideas, because when you're plant-based, one of the things that you deal with is most of the time your diet is high carb. Well, being a diabetic, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. Most diabetics, you're not supposed to be eating a whole bunch of fruit and bread and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people don't realize how sugar is created, and they don't realize it's not just about, I haven't had a slice of cake in years. You may not have, but it's a lot of stuff that you're taking in, whether you're eating it or drinking it, that converts to sugar. A lot of people don't get that. So I learned all of this stuff when I was plant-based. So anyway, this doctor just seemed like she was there, but she wasn't there. She just didn't seem like she was invested. So fast forward, here I am now, and I took pictures of all the bottles of my medicine instead of trying to type all this stuff in. I wanted her to see the dosage, how they were filling it. I wanted her to see the exact name, exact spelling of the medication, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So I'm running low on my vitamin D, running low on my, because they started me on Tylenol for arthritis, as a way to try to wean me off, and it didn't work, of the pain medicine I'm on, because they said I've been on it for too long, and it does cause ulcers, and it may tear up your stomach. So what they did is, instead of me being on it the full dosage that I was on it before, they cut the dosage in half, and they incorporated Tylenol with arthritis to try to balance it out. And it's been working great for me. I have the pain relief that I need. I'm good to go. Some days are worse than others. And we had this cold front that came through not too long ago, and I was hurting. So sometimes I do have periods where my medicine don't work, but it's because the pain is so deep and it's coming from a different place. My body doesn't know what to do with it. So I feel everything. So anyway, this was I believe in September. So since September, today, we're talking about, we're at the very end of October now. September, yeah. So since the very beginning of September, I have been waiting for her to call in a prescription for my vitamin D and my Tylenol arthritis. Twice already, she's told her staff to tell me that I can get this over the counter. I have called. Today was the 5th time I called because I still have not gotten my medicine. And I told them, I was on the phone twice already crying because I said, this is getting on my nerves. I have never dealt with a situation like this with my PCP. I've never had this. I've never had a hard time getting my medicines refilled. So now, before it was tell her to get it over the counter, I said, you need to let her know that federal regulation mandates that any over-the-counter prescription, any over-the-counter medication has to have a prescription if I'm paying for it with my flexible spending. I am not going to go walk into a pharmacy and pay cash for medication when they're taking money out of my check for me to be able to pay for my medication with my flexible spending. Why would you force me to do that? So then, they're talking about, we're going to have the PA calling the medicine. Nobody called me back. So I called back today. This heifer hauled off and told her staff, I am refilling the prescription for your vitamin D, but I'm not refilling the prescription for your Tylenol arthritis because I don't have any information about you having arthritis. I have arthritis. I have soft tissue and nerve damage as well as joint pain. I've only seen you twice. The whole point of me, you calling it, even if she'd have said, I'm going to call in a prescription for 30 days for you to get this, but I need you to come back in. Also, I done jumped through all kinds of hoops to get my medical records and they're not helping me get these records. I'm having to contact the facilities. They've already gotten, out of 3 places, I think it was, they've only gotten records from 1 place. And the fact that the doctor that works in the office, I guess this is that doctor's practice, and she brought these other doctors in. She has access to the electronic medical record system, but refused to go into the electronic medical record system and retrieve my records so that my doctor can see my history and continue prescribing my medication. I'm like, this is nuts. Why, as a new patient, why as a patient period, do I have to go back and forth with my doctor about why I'm taking? So it ain't like I'm asking you for narcotics. I'm asking you for over-the-counter pain medicine that is specifically formulated for a person with arthritis, and I'm only asking you for it so that to do a prescription so I can pay for it with my flexible spending card. Why would your logic tell you then to say, no, you're not going to fill it at all because you don't have no evidence of me having arthritis? Why would you do your patient that way? To me, it's the most idiotic thing I have ever heard in my life. The girl was on the phone. She was like, well, Miss Green, now keep in mind, I'd have to take off work and all that kind of stuff because where they're located, by time I get off and try to get over there, I don't know, I can't remember if their office is closed right after and they only do like every other Saturday or something like that, but their office hours are not always very convenient. We're gonna leave that right where it is. Anyway, back to what I was saying. She says, well, you can come in and I have samples of this in the office that I can give you until we can get your medical records. That was a perfect solution for somebody that was okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I already have a history of taking this medication, and I'm a bariatric patient. It's like, what is your major malfunction that you want me to jump through hoops for some daggone Tylenol with arthritis? What is your problem? And it's just like, I'm just frustrated. And so she said, well, she did say she would go ahead and refill your vitamin D, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? And I'm telling you, right in the middle of me, because I started kind of fussing at the little girl a little bit. And I said, no, we're not going to handle this situation like this. I said, you know what? Even if I got to go back to the original clinic until I find me a doctor, that's better than seeing this lady. Because she has just wasted 2 months of my life messing around back and forth behind. Oh, and then that's not even to say, last week her staff messaged her 4 times and she never responded. You have a brand new patient trying to get in touch with you because there's something going on, and your staff is messaging you and you are not even bothering to return their messages. unacceptable. So I told the little girl I was on the phone with her today, I said, I said, right in the middle of me saying something to her, I said, you know what? I said, my apologies. I said, because this is my fault. I said, I should not have let this go on as long as it did. I said, and this is my fault. I said, so now I'm taking back control of my medical care, and I'm taking it out of the hands of this irresponsible doctor. I said, please let her know I am never coming back. I said, she does not have to call in my vitamin D, nor does she have to be worried about trying to get my medical records or anything. I said, please let her know I will not be coming back at all. And so what I did was, I did go back like onto the website for my insurance, and we have an employed physician group, and that employed physician group has doctors, group like the groups. They have clinics and urgent care, emergent care. They have all kinds of like facilities all over the place. And the original facility where I was going, where my primary doctor retired from, is part of that employed physician group. So it dawned on me, I said, you know what? Those doctors are everywhere. Like, they are all over the place. And I know, because there's a hospital that's not that far from where I live now. And I said, I know they got to have a group of those doctors over near the hospital. Sure enough, they do. So you know what she did? She got on the phone. She called the one over by the hospital, near my house. And I spoke to the scheduler. And the lady, she asked for my full name. She asked for my date of birth, and confirmed who I was. And then she said, oh, do you still live at da 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 da? And I said yes, I do. And then she said, okay. I said, well, if you got that information, and it didn't register that we have electronic medical records. So if my original doctor was a part of this group where they practice out of all these different clinics and stuff, why would they not have my medical records? So I don't have to do anything, because the person that I'm going to be seeing is a part of that employed physician group. They got all my medical records, all of my history. That means all my labs and everything that my PCP has ever done for me. They have my entire access to my entire history in their system. And so she said, okay, who would you like to come in and be seen by? And the person that I pulled up, I was telling her, I gave her the doctor's name, and then I said, okay, so this is a situation. I said, I rotate in the office. My schedule is not the same. I said, I can come in on this day or this. I said, I can come in on this day, but it would have to be after this time. So she was like, she said, on that day, that doctor is only in the office half a day. And I said, okay, no problem. Because I did explain to her the whole reason for me coming in. I don't need a physical or anything like that, but they're going to, it's going to be like a checkup. I said, I need somebody to assume responsibility for my care, because my doctor, and she knew exactly who my doctor was, has retired. And so she said, oh, no problem. So then, again, she said that doctor was only half a day. I said, okay. I said, that's fine. I said, who else is available that I can be seen by that can assume responsibility for my care until this doctor is available, until, the next time I can get in and see her. And so she told me, and so I said, and she said, but that doctor's not here on that day. And I said, okay, what about this day? She said, oh yeah. And then she remembered I said after 3 o'clock. And then she said, okay, the latest I have, no, she didn't say the latest I have. She said, I have a 4 o'clock. I said, that's perfect, because it gives me time to get off. I'll be working from home that day. Get off and actually, make it, because it's only 15 minutes away. Make it to the location. And I did confirm where it was. So I have an appointment to see another, and these doctors are family practice, general practice, family medicine. They even have some that see like their pediatrics, different things like that, and they are part of a group where they even have surgeons and all that kind of stuff. So, if something happened and I needed to have some type of surgery, they have different types of surgeons that are available. So here's the kicker. While I didn't want to leave the facility where I was seeing my doctor, and he retired, I now can still see the same doctors, but they're going to be at a different location, but they're all part of that same, it's the same kind of facility. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So it'll be like I never left my PCP's practice, where he practiced at all, because they're all of these doctors are all part of the same group. And I'm excited because that means that, again, I don't have to struggle with trying to explain why I need a prescription and why I'm taking this medicine and all this other sort of stuff. And I wish I had thought about that sooner. And I wouldn't have wasted 2 months, because my medicine would have automatically been refilled, and I wouldn't have had to go through all of this headache and heartache, because it really was extremely stressful. So out of all that I went through today, the happy ending is that I'm actually going to be able to stay with the group that my PCP that retired originally, was with, but it'll just be a different location because it's closer to my house. So, and all I got to do is fill out a couple forms, because I've never been seen by their the doctors that I'm gonna see. I've never been seen at that particular location, so they just want me to fill out a couple forms to make sure my information is current and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like the meds I'm taking, all of that stuff, and she was able to confirm that everything, they was able to see everything in the system. So Monday the 31st, I go when I get off work to connect with a different doctor, and I don't see any reason why this wouldn't go well. But I guess it's frustrating for me because I'm disappointed that this relationship didn't work out. I'm extremely disappointed that I feel like she failed me. I feel like she let me down because she wasn't what I needed her to be. She wasn't the provider that I needed her to be. And I'm just extremely disappointed. So anyway, that's the long of the short of it. And I know that because we're already 33 minutes in, pretty soon this camera's going to shut off. And I don't want it to do it while I'm talking to y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. But y'all know we don't do so without saying, love yourself, love somebody else, and until next time, y'all take care. Bye. And I'm so sorry for fussing, y'all. I know I fussed the majority of this video, but I was so hurt. Oh my God. I was just so hurt. I was just like, how can this be? How can I have a doctor who just don't give a crap about my needs? Because to me, if she was confused about why I was asking for something the way that I was asking for it, it just seemed to me like she would have done more. She'd have asked more questions to understand what my needs are. But she didn't. So because of the fact that she didn't, she lost me as a patient. She probably don't care. And that's all good if she don't care. But at the end of the day, boo-boo, you left a bad taste in my mouth. And the other thing about that is, I even referred my daughter. My daughter started going to see her. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to my daughter, because I don't know when or if she has to ever go back over there. And truth be told, she probably won't, because my daughter don't live anywhere near me, and this doctor is closer to my house. My daughter has new insurance, and so she's probably going to try to find a doctor close to where she lives, which I hope she does. If she doesn't, I'm going to steer her in that direction to try to find somebody else, because everything that's going on with my daughter, I don't want my daughter dealing with this lady, because my daughter stresses out enough about stuff that's going on with her health, and she don't need the added stress. So, but I'm not almost home. I probably got another 15-20 minutes to ride. But thank y'all for joining me. All right, y'all. Well, we'll be seeing you in a little bit. Peace.